Hello! Many of us may be familiar with the novel Frankenstein because we were forced to read it in English class. Guess what? I was that person in English class that actually read the stories that we were assigned, and furthermore, enjoyed 99% of them. Frankenstein was one of my favorite books to read in English class, so much so I wrote about it for my AP exam. I still read it frequently. It's such a good book. And some of us may know the story, some of us may know how Mary Shelley came to write Frankenstein. She was in the English countryside for a summer with her husband Percy Shelley and the poet Lord Byron, and along with a few other people, and they decided to have a ghostwriting competition. And from that ghostwriting competition, we got the novel Frankenstein. It's a good book. But how many of us actually know the true science that inspired this story? That's what we're going to be talking about today, because it's spooky season, spooky season, spooky season, which means we're doing spooky science. And what is spookier than talking about the real science that inspired somebody to reanimate a dead body? I don't know. Let's find out. At the time Mary Shelley was alive, there was a fierce debate going on in society between what it meant to be alive and what it meant to be dead. There were these two surgeons, William Abernethy and William Lawrence, of the Royal College of Surgeons in England, that were very, series year-long debates about this subject. And Abernethy believed that your body existed and there was some sort of spark that was added to it that made it come alive. While Lawrence argued that there wasn't necessarily some sort of external spark, but it was all of the functions of the body coming together to make life. So you couldn't separate the body from life. They were very vastly intertwined. And this was affecting public society. This was affecting everybody's ideas. In addition, there were some very interesting experiments in electricity going on. The discovery of electricity and kind of just happened, and people were discovering even more about what electricity could do and more of its properties. So you had Italian scientist Luigi Galvani, who was studying anatomy and electricity. Kind of seems weird to us to combine those things today, but less weird back then. And he noticed one day while dissecting a frog that when a metal scalpel touched it that had been charged with electricity, the frog leg moved. Weird if you were dissecting, a frog that is dead, and all of a sudden something causes it to move. So he theorized that there was something in animals, and humans by extension, called animal electricity. And this was kind of the force by which things moved and by which things worked. Well, animal electricity is not a thing, and his theories were not 100% correct. Galvani laid very important groundwork and more ideas for the exploration and further discovery of bioelectricity processes that do work in our body. So for example, the way our heart works is actually very tied to electricity, and same things with our neurons. And we wouldn't have looked into bioelectricity more as a field if it weren't for weird animating frog experiments. Luigi Galvani's nephew, Giovanni Aldini, took this one step further than just electrifying frogs. He actually hit the road, traveled around to public displays with corpses that were executed prisoners from death row, because that's how you couldn't obtain cadavers for medical purposes back then. You had to use criminal corpses. Even spookier. And, oh no, my earring's cut. And he would apply electricity to those corpses and almost reanimate them. Their muscles would jerk, their eyes sometimes open and close, their mouth would change shape. This is probably really convincing. I'd be convinced, especially back then, to audiences watching, that you could bring somebody back to life with electricity. So it's not very hard to see where Mary Shelley took the jump in Dr. Frankenstein, assembling together a man and using some sort of spark to reanimate it to make a person. We like the line between science and fiction. Good science fiction writers. Very close line. Mary Shelley also was studying the works of scientist Humphry Davy at the time, who was a pretty prominent British scientist who discovered many elements on the periodic table, way back at the very beginning of the periodic table, and he even studied electricity. There are also several notable characteristics that people have pointed out over the years between the attribution characteristics of Dr. Frankenstein in the novel to Humphry Davy in society. And Humphry Davy was actually one of the kind of family friends of Mary Shelley's family, so you can see how that might have also influenced her work. I always find it really fascinating to kind of like understand and learn about what people were interested in back in history. And well, we're still pretty interested in life and death today and what it means to maybe be alive or dead, but we don't necessarily think about that on a scientific level. It tends to be a more philosophical or religious level nowadays. People were really into this and combining their philosophy, their religion, and their science all together. And so to me, it's so fascinating that you have this you have these revolutions going on in chemistry. Humphry Davy is like on the forefront of the chemical revolution. Basically, you have these really pioneering experiments with electricity that seem to be reanimating the dead. You have advances in medical practice where you can now resuscitate people, bring them back from the dead. You have surgeons arguing about what it means to be alive and dead. And all of those things going on combine in the mind of an 18-year-old girl, Mary Shelley, to write what is considered to be one of the best English novels of all time, at least for like kind of gothic horror. And even it's a science fiction novel because it really was based in real science going on at the time, and it takes it that one step further into man playing God. It's such a good book. I hope you enjoyed this video and learning just a little bit about some of the weird, spooky science that actually occurred in real life behind the novel Frankenstein. I think crowds watching a criminal corpse being reanimated with electricity is terrifying, and far more terrifying than a lot of things I can think of in this world. That'd be really weird if it was happening today. But I guess there's like that Bodies Alive exhibit that travels around. That's kind of weird too. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video and this spooky science, learning a little bit more about Frankenstein. Stay tuned the whole rest of this month on YouTube for more spooky science videos. Check out my Instagram for daily Halloween outfits, and check out my TikTok for daily Halloween science experiments. So like this video, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends about it. Please support me on Buy Me a Coffee if you want to see more spooky shenanigans. And as always, keep it sciencey! Speaking of Galvani's nephew, oh my gosh, why is this name so hard to remember? Giovanni LD.